जेनेवा में सैलाब मुतासरीन की इमदाद के लिए कॉन्फ्रेंस में इस वक्त वज़ीर आला सिंध मुराद अली शाह खिताब कर रहे हैं।
But our resolve is even greater. It will be my pleasure this afternoon to walk you through this action plan. Let me begin by sharing a video that we have compiled to remind ourselves of the catastrophic events that unfolded in the province of Sindh last summer. If the video can please be played.
A country that boasts 4 seasons and a province that has always longed for rain to keep their fields green, their streams running, and livestock and livelihood flourishing. Who could have imagined that this blessing can turn into a catastrophe for the whole country, and more devastatingly for Sindh? 2022 monsoon has swept away years of progress and washed away crops, livestock, homes, and even the province's infrastructure. But it couldn't take away the resolve of the Sindh government to persist in such moments, evident by our immediate rescue and relief mission during the floods. SPHF is the biggest housing initiative by the government of Sindh, aided by the World Bank to meet the housing requirements of 2 million households in Sindh. The project employs the latest construction technology to build solid foundations and modern homes in place of mud houses and temporary ones that stood here before. These are resilient homes in suitable locations that are equipped with basic services like latrines, water harvesting, and solar panels. This initiative is also providing land ownership to the residents, 80% of whom don't currently own the land they live on. Help us rebuild a more resilient and progressive Sindh for the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, the floods have left behind a lasting impact on Sindh. 70% of the province has been submerged. 2.1 million houses were partially damaged or completely destroyed. Over 20,000 schools were damaged, many of them beyond repair. Nearly 8,500 kilometers of road have become non-motorable. 8.2 million people have been rendered food insecure. Almost 450,000 livestock have perished, and over 1,500 health facilities within the province were damaged. All sectors have suffered from the floods, and the holistic impact went far beyond the wreckage of shelter and housing. This kind of damage and destruction was vast and unprecedented. The total damage in my province is estimated at $9 billion. The damage is in the housing, agriculture, education, health, water and sanitation, and roads sector. Pakistan, despite contributing less than 1% to global greenhouse emission, is one of the 10 most climate-stressed countries. The United Nations Secretary General visited Pakistan in September, recognizing the grave climate injustice that Pakistan had faced. He visited the flood-hit areas of Sindh, the province which bore the brunt of the flood damage. After seeing the tragedy with his own eyes, he stated, and I quote, "While nature has struck back at Sindh, it is not Sindh that has caused the greenhouse gas emissions that have accelerated climate change so dramatically." He added, "It is a very unfair situation relative to the level of destruction." Ms. Angelina Jolie, an ambassador of the UNHCR, also visited Sindh's flood-affected areas. She was of the view, and I quote, "In my life, I've never seen anything like this. Families are sleeping under open skies and have lost everything due to the floods. The most heart-wrenching part of this human tragedy is that the vulnerable population suffers disproportionately. Nobel laureate Ms. Malala Yousafzai visited Sindh and took special note of the impact of floods on education infrastructure of Sindh. In this context, she said, "I hope that international community and country leaders can continue to provide emergency aid and ensure girls can safely return to school soon. Women education has always been on the forefront of education policy in Sindh, and we are adamant to not leave them behind in these trying times." When the floods hit, we managed the initial emergency response from our own resources. We took austerity measures, reduced our non-development expenditure, repurposed existing development projects, and aligned the provincial spending in line with the need of the hour. I would like to thank the many organizations that came forward with their commitment and support for the people of Sindh. We received multilateral funding, bilateral financing, international development assistance, green financing, and private sector investment. Still, there are not enough to match the devastation caused by the largest scale calamity of its kind in the world. I cannot, of course, forget the immense generosity, support, and steadfast resolve received from the Pakistani organizations and the people of Pakistan who stepped up to assist the government of Sindh. I also thank the international community from the bottom of my heart. In our time of difficulty, help and assistance came from all corners of the world. Thank you all. The government of Sindh, while dedicating most of its time to rescue operation, also has an effective rehabilitation plan. We have covered six thematic areas within our strategy for holistic and sustainable rehabilitation. These include providing immediate relief to IDPs. The organization and countries I mentioned earlier and the resilient people of Pakistan help us in this. Providing long-term, low-cost, climate-resilient housing through Sindh People's Housing for flood affectees. The World Bank has committed $500 million thus far. This is our flagship initiative, and I will talk about this later. The rehabilitation of damaged highways and road infrastructure. Again, the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank are forthcoming, and I hope that the funding gap can be bridged by other donors and investment agencies. The rehabilitation of damaged educational institutions which have been partially or completely damaged by the floods. Many local and international agencies are partnering with us for education initiatives. The revival of agriculture activity, which is so critical to the livelihood of the people of Sindh. Fortunately, we were able to drain out most of the water from the inundated agricultural lands before the wheat sowing season, and have also helped our farmers with money for seed and setting an attractive wheat purchase price. The rehabilitation of health and sanitation facilities at all healthcare levels. Here again, the World Bank has assisted us with funding. Ladies and gentlemen, we prepared brochures for each of these areas, and I request you to kindly take them there outside the conference hall. The total financing need across different sectors is estimated at $9.35 billion. We have commitments of $2.33 billion, leaving a gap of almost $7 billion. Despite the massive coordinated efforts and commitment provided so far, we have a long way to go before Sindh can be sustainably rehabilitated. If there was ever a need for donors to come forward, it is now. With your help, we aim to rehabilitate flood victims and put them back on the path to progress. Keeping in view the huge financial gap which can't be catered through donations alone, public-private partnerships can play a vital role. Our public-private partnership program has seen tremendous success, and we are committed to building on that success by developing even more sophisticated projects. The robust institutional framework has fostered a high level of trust between the public and the private sectors, and this has been critical to the success of our program. Sindh's Public-Private Partnership Unit is the best-ranking unit in Pakistan and also has been ranked highly by international standards. The Economist magazine's Intelligence Unit report in 2018 ranked Sindh's PPP unit as the 6th best performing unit in Asia. Many PPP projects in Sindh have been acclaimed internationally. One of our projects won the Most Innovative Deal of the Year award in 2021. We have thus far done projects worth $1.9 billion under the PPP model. We have a pipeline of PPP projects which are ready for implementation in the agriculture, water, public health and climate sector, and I would request you to please look at these. We also look forward to scaling up our public-private partnership model, for which we encourage participation from the global community. I would like to speak about a flagship project, the Sindh People Housing for Flood Affectees. Providing resilient housing is one of the key thematic focus areas for the Government of Sindh's strategy for sustainable rehabilitation. A special purpose company has been created. Through this company, we will replace traditional mud structures with flood-resistant housing. We will also be providing land titles to deserving applicants, as 80% of the flood affectees did not own the land that they were living on. SPHF has 4 strategic pillars to provide sustainable and resilient housing: MIS system for transparent process, new resilient housing, long-term commitment, and land title for flood affectees. An MIS system has been developed to enable a uniquely transparent process for donors that delivers granular visibility right down to the individual beneficiary. Through this robust system, the linkage between the donors and beneficiaries shall be direct, transparent, and efficient. The MIS will ensure direct transfer of funds to the beneficiaries without any human intervention, and the step-up construction of the house shall be transmitted to the beneficiary directly. The MIS system also ensures that multiple donor streams can be created, and local and international donors shall be working through this MIS concurrently. Replacing mud houses with climate-resilient structures is our priority, and we aim to transform all mud houses into resilient housing to combat future natural disasters. The World Bank has been very forthcoming and has committed $500 million for this initiative. The Government of Sindh has repurposed $250 million. The Government of Pakistan has been asked to match this amount, and the Prime Minister has graciously agreed. Leading Pakistani non-governmental organizations will be working with us as implementation partners. We've got leading management consultants, lawyers, and information partners as our business operation partners. Ladies and gentlemen, together let's revive hope for the people of Sindh. The Government of Sindh stands with its people. The world has come to help, but as explained, much more is required. We look to those present here for their support and assistance for justice to the people of Sindh. Thank you, and Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you. We thank the Chief Minister of Sindh for his presentation, for being at the forefront of us combating mid-catastrophe as the most severely affected province, and for sharing your very innovative solutions. Moving on, I would now like to invite Mr. Taimur Jagra, the Minister for Finance and Health from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, to share his perspective and his provincial government's plan for reconstruction and rehabilitation.
आपको बताएं कि इस वक्त सेशन बराए माहौलियाती तब्दीली से वज़ीर आला सिंध मुराद अली शाह खिताब कर रहे थे और आपको बताएं कि वज़ीर ख़ारिजा बिलावल भुट्टो भी वहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। उन्होंने कहा कि सिंध इस वक्त सबसे ज़्यादा मुतासर हुआ है, जो सैलाब से मुतासरीन लोग यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, और उन्होंने कहा कि सैलाब से सड़कें, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और स्कूल बुरी तरह मुतासर हैं।